Welcome back to Flight Fact X. An airliner was flying silently above Europe, but inside the cockpit, something terrifying had already happened. Fighter pilots approached the aircraft expecting communication. Instead, they found passengers frozen in their seats, oxygen masks hanging from the ceiling, and a cockpit almost completely abandoned. So how did a fully functioning Boeing 737 become known as the ghost plane? On the morning of August 14, 2005, Helios Airways Flight 522 departed from Cyprus heading toward Athens aboard a Boeing 737-31s. At first, everything appeared completely normal. Passengers settled into their seats, the aircraft climbed smoothly through the clouds, and the cockpit crew continued routine procedures. But hidden deep inside the aircraft, a deadly problem was already beginning to unfold. As the Boeing 737 climbed higher, the cabin slowly started losing pressurization, and neither pilot fully understood what was happening. Warning alarms echoed through the cockpit, but confusion inside the flight deck delayed the response. The crew mistakenly believed they were dealing with a takeoff configuration warning, rather than a life-threatening pressurization failure. Meanwhile, oxygen levels inside the aircraft continued dropping, slowly affecting everyone on board. Passengers began feeling dizzy. Cabin crew struggled to understand the situation, and inside the cockpit, the pilots themselves were becoming dangerously impaired by hypoxia. Then, communication with air traffic control suddenly became strange. The aircraft stopped responding normally, yet it continued flying perfectly on autopilot across Greek airspace. Military fighter jets were eventually sent to intercept the silent Boeing 737, and what they discovered shocked the aviation world. Through the cockpit windows, the captain appeared unconscious, the first officer was slumped over, and most passengers inside the cabin were motionless. Oxygen masks hung from the ceiling as the aircraft continued flying like a ghost through the sky. But then, fighter pilots noticed something unexpected. A cabin crew member wearing an oxygen mask entered the cockpit and attempted to regain control of the aircraft. The flight attendant, later identified as Andreas Prodroma, desperately tried to save the plane during its final moments. But by then, fuel exhaustion was already beginning to shut down the engines one by one. The Boeing 737 started descending uncontrollably toward the hills near Athens, before crashing into the mountainside, killing all 121 people on board. Investigators later uncovered the terrifying truth. During maintenance before the flight, the aircraft's pressurization system had been left in manual mode instead of automatic, a tiny switch that triggered one of aviation's most haunting disasters. The cockpit warning horn sounded repeatedly during the climb, but the crew misidentified the alarm and lost valuable minutes before hypoxia slowly overcame everyone on board. Helios Airways Flight 522 became known around the world as the ghost plane, a chilling reminder that in aviation, even the smallest overlooked detail can turn a modern airliner into a silent flying tragedy.